Uh, Hello again. It may look like pretty much the same video as the one I just made about Argento's Inferno, and that's because I just made it. Uh, I did think about shaving to create the illusion that some uh, change has happened in the background and environment of the videos to create some kind of discontinuity. Yeah, fuck it. Also, I've seen Cruising several times. And the last time I watched it with Brad a year or two ago, um, and I have found it gets dramatically more interesting every time I've seen it so far, which I think is four times. Uh, in fact, what I think of Cruising, what I think is going on is in Cruising becomes so much more rich and interesting and complex with each viewing that I kind of don't want to watch it again yet. It's that line in Crowley's Book of the Law about the third time is gold. Uh, yeah, I'm saving the next time I watch Cruising. I want to think about it for a little bit more before I get there. So it's one of those movies. A lot of the things there are to say about it are not in the movie. It's kind of complex context to explain. Billy Friedkin, of course, is as eccentric and uneven a director as there is, who's made as many masterpieces as Friedkin has, except for maybe Polanski. Everybody's seen The Exorcist. I think I don't know if it still does have a rep. The French Connection, Friedkin's cop movie with the amazing car chase, used to have a hell of a rep. Yeah, I think that one's kind of a mess. Sorcerer, his money burning remake of the French classic Wages of Fear, another masterpiece. Cruising with Al Pacino is, I think, his best movie. Now, I haven't seen all his movies. And the thing about Cruising is, I didn't think that at all the first time I saw it. It's one of the few movies my father had a VHS copy of. He told me before I saw it was his favorite movie, meaning it's one of his favorite movies. There were 4 or 5 movies he would call his favorite movie. And the first time I saw it, I don't know how much I knew about the original context. It is about Al Pacino plays a cop who is sent as an undercover to infiltrate the BDSM end of the gay club scene in the East Village, looking for a serial killer who is hunting and murdering bondagey gay men. And the first time I saw it, I didn't know, one, it had caused some socio-political controversy when it was made. Now, it seems clear to me that there's nothing anti-queer in Cruising. It's not about gay men. It's about a specific kind of possibly dangerous gay man who sees sex and violence as intermingled inextricably, gets his kicks, not disentangling them. And there's a lot of elements that made it, you would think, place the movie beyond anyone coming to the dipshit erroneous conclusion that there's something anti-gay about it. Nevertheless, when it was made, shot on location in the Village, in some pretty famous gay bars, the locals decided it was anti-gay because the killer's queer. I think is basically why. Now there are gay men, characters in the movie, fictional characters who are gay men who are not into bondage or violent sex. The movie is pretty clear on that distinction. Might have been even more clear had the director Friedkin's original vision for the movie been allowed to emerge in the cut that was released, because what he shot and cut had apparently about 20 minutes of finished edited scenes of hardcore gay bondage sex. Would have made it way by far out in front of any other mainstream Hollywood movie having gay pornographic sex in it. I think maybe the next significant instance of men having sex with each other in a full-on inescapably pornographic way is maybe Short Bus. I mean, it's hard to think a movie is gay bashing when it goes way out of its way to show you guys having sex with each other, guys who are homophobic or hate homosexuals. They aren't going to go out of their way to shoot orgies in the bondage bar. It would have served to inoculate the movie. It also apparently, from things Friedkin has said in recent interviews as of this recording, would have illuminated the story. Because here's the thing about Cruising. First time I saw it, I just thought it was kind of a quiet, low-key, serious cop drama. Pretty good. Reminded me of like Serpico. It's a little slow. Then I thought about it for a while and realized, wait a minute. Does it have the Blade Runner ending? Is he actually the guy he was looking for? Is Pacino the killer? So when I came back to it a couple of years later and watched it again, I realized, oh yeah, Pacino killed somebody. But there's also another killer. He definitely didn't kill everybody who gets murdered in the movie. The third time I saw it, I think it's the third time I saw it. Did I say 4 times earlier? I think I've seen it 3 times. It was the time I watched it with Brad a couple of years ago. And now I'm not sure. There's definitely at least 4 murderers. And all of them get away with it, I think. I don't think they ever arrest anybody for these crimes. I think one of the killers gets killed. I'm definitely sure that Pacino killed one character. He may have killed other characters too, though. Pacino's boss, the cop who assigns him to this gig as the undercover gay bar hanger-outer, knows more than he's letting on about Pacino's private life. I didn't realize the first time I saw it. Pacino's bisexual, and he has a secret double life, and he hangs out at the gay bars already before he gets sent undercover to hang out at the gay bars. He's not the only cop hanging out at the gay bars. And the murderous characters are not the only predators. There's at least Joe Spinell plays a cop who makes a habit of using his badge and his gun and his position to rape drag queen prostitutes, men in drag, not transsexuals, but men dressed up as women. There's a lot in the movie about dress up and uniform. The upshot of all this is, on the surface, it's a straight cop movie about a cop looking for a killer. But the more you unravel it, the more you realize that what it's really about is that this specific subculture, the subculture of gay men who are into bondage sex, kinky sex based on violence, and the real threat and danger of real violence, the non-consensual kind, and police, that is, uniformed policemen who share a lot of these fascinations, including real passion for engaging in violence, sexual domination and sexual violence, that the BDSM gay subculture and the cops and the invisible series of independently acting murderers that prowl this corner of the world create this sort of nightmarish labyrinth in which there are always more killers and always more victims. And the more you look and the more you find out, the more you realize you don't know about what you're missing. Um, it's ferociously complex in this way, and it's subtle in its complexity. It's not the kind of movie that beats you over the face with how smart it is. It's also worth saying that they shot this movie on location in some really famous gay bars. If you know anything about the queer scene, the scene for queer men in the village in 1980, and believe me, I don't know much. I know a little bit. I've had older gay male friends who were from New York. Knew about these places. The Ramrod is one of them. I don't know if any of those places still exist after HIV and AIDS happened. But far from coming off as anti-gay, the more I watch it, the more I find it it captures the allure and the mystique of the danger of cruising for rough trade in these kinds of bars. It's like a couple other movies I've talked about in these videos. Except I can't just say I cannot recommend cruising highly enough. Cruising is pretty essential. Like, if you're into Al Pacino, if you're into cop movies, if you're into Friedkin, I think it's definitely far and away a better movie than The Exorcist. Even as a horror movie, it's more like an erotic thriller than a horror movie. But the more you watch it, the more horror there is in it. It is an extremely dark and disturbing movie, and also, like I said, kind of sexy in its own weird way. After I showed it to Red and I watched it. She said she'd taken up recommending it as a date movie to her gay friends. Yeah, which it should have a rep for being essential gay cinema. And like I said, it actually sort of accidentally has the exact opposite rep. It has a rep for being anti-queer. Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, the kind of guy you might catch me hanging out at the gay bar. You'd never catch me walking into one of these BDSM kind of places. They're dangerous, and they're not for a straight guy just having a beer, and flirting dangerously outside his own comfort zone. You don't walk into places like that. And this movie, it takes place entirely in places like that. If it's not the gay bars, it's the cops. Yeah, I'm gonna walk around in little circles talking about how great cruising is because it's great. Like, there's just no way to tell you how great this movie is. Yeah, if I had a movie theater, if I was an owner and operator of a movie theater, cruising is a movie that I would just play a few times a year till it caught on, wherever my theater happened to be, till I created a microcultural cult following that laid the seeds for a real cult following to blossom and bloom. Because cruising still doesn't have much of a cult following, not compared to a few of Friedkin's more famous movies. Again, The Exorcist, Sorcerer. I think it's better than those movies, and yeah, you should really see it if you haven't seen it. It's a hell of a movie. My dad was right to call it one of his favorite movie. Now, favorite's a little strong, but having seen it now 3 times, he's not wrong. It's pretty fucking great. Am I rambling? Am I done? Am I done here? I think I'm done here. So is that what, 5? Fuck, 5 movies from 1980 so far. We're getting there. I'm aiming for a complete and comprehensive list. I'm actually aiming for 250 for the entire decade. Is what I'm aiming for. Yeah, good luck with me living long enough to see that many of these movies again. Sure seems like I'm not going to make it that far. I'm not going to last that long, but we'll see. I've been saying I'm not going to make it that far, and I'm not going to last that long since like I was 18, maybe younger, and I'm considerably fucking older than that now. So yeah. I may be back here presently. The next movie is another movie I've seen a couple of dozen times, though. Last time I saw Ninth Configuration, it was pretty dated, so I'm going to take a look at it again before I discuss it in the video. Thanks a lot, kids. You mean the world to me. Your attention makes my attention worthwhile.